excited that you're the big winner. It makes for good video. Yeah, there you go.
I think we took 4 first place.
I think we have 4 first places and a bunch of second and thirds. And when you consider that they're competing against 3,000 other competitors, it's quite an accomplishment.
Pink, red, white, and magenta cover the marsh, giving this crew a splash of colors. Thousands of cranberries floating in the beds are just waiting to be harvested. It all starts with water. It's pumped in from the St. Croix River and floods the beds filled with these tasty little berries.
Once we've got that completed, what we'll do is we'll put the machines in the water, our beaters. We'll have them run through the beds, traveling in the direction of the vines. What the machines will do is agitate the berries off of the vines themselves.
Once off their vines, they float to the surface, wait for their turn on the elevator, and then a drop into the gravity box. Harvesting cranberries is a labor-intensive job. The crew works from sunup to sundown. In this bed alone, there are about 500 pounds of cranberries, and that translates into 3 hours of work.
You've got to enjoy being outside in the elements. Most of the people here, our hourly people, are putting in 10 to 12 hours a day. That includes Saturday, 1 day off normally during the week, that would be Sunday.
From blowing these berries to plowing them off their vines, once afloat, they create a sea of mouth-watering flavor.
What I look forward to is this type of situation we see here, where you actually see what you've been able to grow for the year. This is kind of the sum of all your efforts throughout the growing season.
In Gordon, Angela Wang, Channel 6 News.
Well, usually the kind of symptoms that you have from your patients is the generally not feeling well, the malaise, muscle aches. When it gets worse, they will have some sort of respiratory symptoms as well, headaches, flu.
Would you mind if we type?
And I'll follow everybody. Okay, right there. Go ahead, just follow. Remember, just don't go out the building. No, don't.
I'm just one of many that do this, though. I'm just one. I wasn't looking for anything, and I'm still going to keep doing things to help my boys and girls be successful, and it makes me feel good too.
The Germans have landed in Duluth. The MV Columbus brought 382 passengers and 172 crew members. They flew to Chicago to meet the boat, and many are excited about their first trip to the United States.
Oh, it's very nice of this town, and we are very happy to see our country. It's very happy here. Very nice.
The German tourists needed help getting around the language barrier and finding their way. Duluth officials planned ahead and put German-fluent locals to work, showing tourists where to go.
It's broken down into things like Canal Park in the downtown area. They've got, if you can go on a walking tour, some things you can see, bars and restaurants.
One thing for locals and tourists alike to see was the ship itself. The 7-deck giant is only 3 months old and is breathtaking. There are lavish dining areas, nightly music entertainment, exquisite shops on board, as well as a pool. For those looking to work out the body, there's a spa, and to work out the mind, a small library. All the luxuries fit in this ship built to squeeze into some tight Great Lake ports.
And this ship has been specially designed for the Great Lake. That means we have no outhanging, overhanging, outranging lifeboats. Our lifeboats are inside the ship's wall, inside, under deck, and so we can pass through the locks.
This is the first of 3 trips this year. So if you run into anyone from Germany in the next couple of days, or the next 2 trips, here's a good way to make them feel at home.
Well, as somebody coming off the ship, you'd say, Willkommen in Duluth.
I'll have to brush up on my German. Aboard the MV Columbus, Justin Acree, Channel 6 News.
Each stylist donates an hour or 2 hours of their time out in the mall concourse for this event.
There's a grass fire in Rice Lake Township. Engine 1, report to the scene immediately. 10-4, we've got our best team on it. Okay, so they can't reach the gas pedals to drive the tanker truck yet, but they're becoming well-versed in firefighting and, more importantly, fire prevention.
Once they've been taught here, they retain it, and they help mom and dad remember to get the bucket of water before they light the fire, to put it out before they leave, before they go canoeing or fishing or hiking, to put that campfire out so it doesn't become a forest or grass fire.
It's not recommended that children try fighting fires, but teaching prevention techniques can really pay off.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's real important at an early age to understand what we're trying to do here, and to bring the message back to their brothers and sisters too, and if they find matches or lighter, to bring them to a grown-up.
For the kids, high-tech trucks and hoses are the biggest fascination.
You would get to carry water, and you would get to squirt things.
And squirt things they did. Some went prepared for a water fight.
Well, you can squirt water, and it's pretty neat because you can squirt the fires and it will try and get out. It's pretty neat.
The Northland can rest assured our future firefighters are off to a good start.
Unexpected events can sometimes cause problems in people's lives. For 3 years now, the Bethany Crisis Nursery has been there to help families cope.
In our world today, there are so many stresses and demands on families and children. It's not necessarily a very safe place to be.
The program deals with issues such as violence, sudden illness, and housing. It offers parents a confidential 24-hour hotline, clothing donations for children, and safe child care for up to 72 hours. And sometimes that makes all the difference.
So the Crisis Nursery is there 24 hours a day to be able to help people. It's almost like on a pot, let off some steam so it can not burst.
The nursery also provides transportation to and from the facility and the use of a phone for those who need it. Getting that help prompts many people to give something back.
I have 3 kids, and things get pretty crazy. And so when I needed the help, I gave a call and got what I needed, and I just really feel that it's an important program. So in turn, I give back what I can.
This program relies on monies from the state, the St. Louis County, and the United Way. But just as important as that is the efforts of volunteers that help to keep the program up and running.
They were looking for more families to be licensed also under the Bethany Crisis system, and I thought it would be a real neat thing to be able to handle families on an emergency basis as they need it as well.
The Crisis Nursery allows parents time to do what they need to, and kids time just to be kids. And that can help everyone down the road.
It's the long term. Those children will have a better chance as adults to provide a safe, healthy environment for their children.
In Duluth, Justin Acree, Channel 6 News. As of Monday, the Proctor Pharmacy is no more. The business aided several hundred area customers until it unexpectedly closed its doors. Many people who frequented the store are surprised.
I think they're shocked. People are shocked because it's the unknown. You don't know what the reason was. And their attitudes will change when they find out what it is.
No reason for the closure has been given. Owner and pharmacist Cecil Roberts says it is not a financial move and that he is not personally under investigation. It leaves the community without a hometown prescription provider.
It's when your kids are sick and they're so helpful, they know you better than the other stores, I feel.
By looking at the Proctor Pharmacy, it looks as though they're just getting ready for Halloween, and many in the town can't even believe that they've actually closed. But this is certainly no trick. And for elderly residents who can't get to the pharmacy on their own, this will certainly be no treat either.
You know, they brought them up here to our building, the medications, which was just great for so many, and that we're going to miss.
It really affects me because I don't get out to get drugs. You know, I have to have them all delivered.
Now these residents are left shopping for a new pharmacy that is willing to meet their needs as well as meet them at the door.
I switched everything over to here, so it's pretty much dependent on, you know. It's a darn shame that we're losing this thing. Well, they don't deliver exactly up here. There's a bunch of them that do, but they don't want to come out this way. I don't know, maybe not.
What do you think about that?
And that's what we wanted.
Mark Rubin will never forget Douglas Rantham. In 1984, he prosecuted Rantham for criminal sexual conduct against at least 2 of his 8-year-old female students. Rubin says the public has the right to know about those incidents.
If you're a teacher, you are held to a higher standard, and parents in the community have a right to know who they are hiring, who's going to be in a classroom with their kids.
Rantham was a 3rd-grade teacher at Lester Park Elementary School in Duluth when he admitted sexually touching some of his students on their buttocks and breasts. It was a mother of one of those students who made officials and parents at Albrook School aware of Rantham's criminal background.
I think once you've been convicted, you shouldn't have that temptation, because you never know if counseling helps or not until you're put back in that temptation. And when it comes to kids, they shouldn't take the chance.
Rantham has been on paid leave since the information came to light, but many are now wondering how a man with a conviction for criminal sexual conduct against children could have gotten back into a classroom. The answer is simple. No one ever asked him. And there are no questions on the St. Louis County School District employment form asking whether a person's ever been convicted of any past criminal activity. This is Duluth's application for employment. This simple question, have you ever been convicted of or did you plead guilty to any criminal charge, might have prevented the problems that are now plaguing the St. Louis County District. In Duluth, a yes to that question would mean they would never teach here.
But if there had been a past history of misconduct with children, they would not get their second chance with the Duluth Public School District.
A criminal background check would also have revealed Rantham's past record, but when Rantham was hired by Albrook School in 1995, this type of check wasn't required. It wasn't until 1996 that the Minnesota legislature passed a law requiring schools to run statewide checks.
When Rantham applied to Albrecht School, he showed a valid teacher's license and no one thought to question his background. His teaching license was suspended in 1985 after he pleaded guilty to the criminal sexual conduct, but it was reinstated in 1990. A spokesperson for the State Board of Teachers told I-Team 6 that Rantham was able to prove to them, through a psychological evaluation, that he was indeed fit to teach again. After that, it's up to an individual school district if they want to hire a teacher with a past criminal record. Barbara Riles, Channel 6 News.
"609 victims, 609 pairs of shoes. Each pair tells a story of sexual abuse."
Let us know, all right? All right, let's go out to Duluth, Minnesota, where JD is visiting, well, with a super collecting couple. JD, it's been a while since we've had a super collecting couple.
I know, John, and look at this. You open the cabinets, Fire King. You look on the counters, Fire King. Look at the table, Fire King. And we're here with... And so many people start collecting because of something out of their past.
Right.
What sparked this?
I saw a piece at a garage sale, piece of jadeite that I had seen at my grandmother's house.
Mm-hmm.
Reminded me of Grandma, fell in love with it, and there it went.
There it went. And they said, too, in the beginning, are they hard to find?
They're pretty difficult to come by, but we scour here, there, everywhere, and when we do find one in a box, it's a real treasure.
Wow. And how hard is it to find them with the stickers like that? You really like these, and they're an unusual pattern, correct?
Right.
Upgrade your collection is what?
We'd love to have a sapphire blue skillet.
A sapphire blue skillet. That's your new quest.
That's our quest. It's about the only piece of sapphire we're missing, John, and
All
we'd
right.
love to have it.
Well, Rena, thank you very much, George. Thank you for educating us about Fire King.
Thank you for coming.
So that's it, guys.
Boy, that's something. Did you just
There
learn
really
a ton?
is.
I just learned a ton.
I did. I also learned to have green plate at home like theirs. I own a piece of Fire King. I just learned
What's it worth?
Someday, ESCO students might say, this is the room where Carrie Lee Jones got her start. As a member of the high school choir, she blends in well with the other singers, but there's another side of Carrie Lee.
When she came into this world.
Meet Carrie Lee Jones, the rising country star. This July, Carrie Lee recorded her first album in Music City, USA, Nashville. It's a career she's wanted for a long time.
Probably like in 7th grade when I sang in ESCO. It was a concert we had, and the people, they just kind of, watched you and they're like, wow, that's probably when I thought, man, I could do this. This is exciting.
And it's been an exciting journey for her family, too. They've spent hundreds of dollars and countless hours unconditionally supporting her budding career.
She turns out the light. What she's singing, a lot of times when you watch her, she really feels what she's singing. And that's what she wants to give to people. She's a pretty special kid.
Carrie Lee graduates high school this spring, and her parents say they plan to move to Nashville immediately to keep pushing for musical stardom. Make no mistake, she knows who her biggest fans are.
I'd say probably my parents. They see a talent and I see the talent, and they're like, hey, she's got something, she can go somewhere, and I've always wanted to sing, so it kind of just gave me the extra boost to go and do it because they're so supportive. They're really
One love that wasn't hers to give or to take.
I have no doubt that we're a really close-knit family, and she can do it.
So look out, Reba. There's a new talent coming to Nashville.
heart can feel the love that she...
A flood warning remains in effect.
Batten down the hatches along the Gulf and watch out for droughts out west. El Nino, a warming in the tropical Pacific sea surface temperature, threatens to bring such weather our way.
This pool of warm water has migrated from the western Pacific towards the east. That's the real strong indicator that El Nino is going to happen.
Here's what happens. The warm ocean transfers water vapor to the atmosphere, which creates rain. During an El Nino, when the warm water spreads, the rain follows, throwing storm systems off track.
Our capacity to predict is based on our understanding of this interactive physics of the ocean and atmosphere in the tropics, and importantly, it's based on the creation of numerical models of this interaction.
It's these new computer models combining atmospheric data with information about ocean temperatures that alerted scientists to this year's El Nino. Real-time El Nino forecasting can now be made up to a year in advance.
We have the opportunity now to anticipate what the Earth system is going to do, to take some steps in advance, and to use this information to protect life and property.
So what's in store for us? El Ninos can cause severe droughts in Hawaii and the western U.S. It can also bring floods to California and the Gulf Coast. But it's not all bad. An El Nino can calm hurricanes along the east coast and bring a pleasantly mild winter to those in the northeast.
Each one of the days during the week has a theme.
At the issues of violence and like I said,
because it is a community event, they're kind of scattered all over, but parents are more than welcome to bring their children, grandparents, aunts, uncles, neighbors. I think that there will be a good opportunity for the community to learn ways that individuals can have an impact on reducing violence in the community.
Experiencing all kinds of things, man, and because you're experiencing all kinds of things. Oh, believe me, let me tell you something, man. I really had to bury some of my... First and foremost, let's talk about drugs. Now, how many would get even? Get a payback.
My goal is to teach how to make healthy choices, and in those healthy choices, getting involved in more positive behavior.
Just to see firsthand, you know, what's happening at UMDC, some of the repairs that might need to be made, like in the parking lots, in the buildings, and see maybe ways that we can make our campus more safe than what it is. It's kind of like a proactive measure. So we can...
All of the phones can be used for 911 service, and if you get close and read it, it will say that. Without
kind of strategic locations. And if we can identify it as a free call to 911, I picture a young lady here digging in her pocket trying to find a quarter to call, and it's not necessary. But if you look down here, it's...
If kids hanging out in front of the Holiday Center is a problem, I think that should tell people something about this town, that if they're meeting other people in front of a bus shelter, that there's a need for some common hangout spots.
We were to approve this, then Chapter 44A would not apply in the yellow zones. Is that right?
That's correct, President Hardesty.
Does that mean then that, well, I suppose it would be up to the abutting property owner to say, well, then
Hundreds of people turned out for the funeral of Janice Rabideau. The Cloquet High School student's death is an example of the tragic and unexpected consequences alcohol can have on young people.
Alcohol, like any chemical, is dangerous for everyone. Kids can die from drinking.
Sue Malmquist works with kids at the Lake Superior Region Adolescent Treatment Program. According to her, teens die every year from alcohol poisoning. She and Cloquet High School principal Dennis Modek say that despite that fact, kids often feel like it can't happen to them.
Well, I think that it's sort of an unbelief that kids sometimes see themselves as somewhat indestructible, that nothing will ever happen to them. And when a tragedy like this happens, I think they have a difficult time accepting it.
And I think a lot of times kids don't believe it's going to, absolutely, positively don't believe it would happen to them.
But it can and does happen every year. Lonnie Owen counsels kids in the area with drug and alcohol problems. He says that society's acceptance of alcohol use often leads to its abuse.
Alcohol is still that sanctioned drug that, hey, don't use dope, but if you got to drink with the guys, you know, at the party, it's okay. We need to get away from that message.
That message is unfortunately being heard loud and clear in Cloquet. Justin Acree, Channel 6 News.
I think the incidences are pointing to a problem, and it's made everybody a little more vigilant of problems and things we have to look for.
Carlton County Sheriff Dave Sebo says that the gun incidents at high schools in Moose Lake and Cloquet are random incidents and not part of a pattern.
Well, I think it's probably a random thing. I haven't seen any trend towards this at all.
But parents here say they're still concerned.
To a certain extent. I'm not sure how big the problem is. I know, like, no, last month, like you said, there's been one in Cloquet and one in Moose Lake.
St. Luke's psychologist Tammy Jutton works with adolescents. She says kids who bring guns to school are taking extreme measures to draw attention to their problems.
They do things that aren't very intelligent, but it's not because they're not smart kids, it's because they just don't know what else to do. They just kind of get stuck, they get caught, and they don't know where to go from there.
Despite a very low deer population in the Northland this year, license sellers say hunters are still turning out.
Yeah, license sales were up. It was a real surprise. They were up over last year.
Sue Chalstrom sells licenses and says many hunters she spoke with changed their minds about heading out this year.
A lot of hunters decided they weren't going to go hunting, and I think they all decided last night they were going to go with their brother or their father after all.
The Kellerhoos family went out together as they have for many years, but they didn't have much luck.
We got out about 6:30 and got back into the house about 9 o'clock and didn't see anything.
I haven't seen nothing this year, but still hope, you know. First day, can't expect too much.
Bernie has been hunting here for 40 years, but he says that getting a deer isn't the most important thing to him.
No big deal. It's more or less a get-together, and have fun.
Some other hunters in the area had more success than the Kellerhoos family.
Basically saw, I think, was a doe of the first one, and the second one was a spike buck that I shot.
And another local hunter bagged this 230-pound prize. So despite DNR estimates that only 15% of the hunters in the Northland will be successful this season, many are doing their best to beat the odds and enjoy deer season 97. In Duluth, Justin Acree, Channel 6 News.
That was cool. Thank you, Carrie, for the extra points.
Kristen is a 7th grader at Morgan Park Middle School. Tanya Schiller is a student at UMD. They were brought together through the mentor program at the YMCA in Duluth.
I have 2 younger brothers back home in Wadena, and so it's like being up here, I get to hang out with young kids again than what I've missed not being around my brothers.
And it's like really fun. You do games and crafts and you learn stuff. It's kind of like school, but it isn't.
Recently, we caught up with Tanya and Kristen's little sister Carrie at the incline station. They were brushing up on the finer points of bowling.
Drag your foot and have your arm here. I usually helps is if this hits your side and let go right when it hits here. Okay?
Last December, Kristen lost her best friend in a car accident. It was her first encounter with death on a personal level, and it hurt her deeply. The relationship with Tanya has helped her deal with her loss.
She like says it's okay, and she like, I don't know, but she helps me like remember all the fun times we had together.
A senior psychology student at UMD, Tanya holds down a part-time job and is president of the SERVE program, which gives students opportunities to volunteer their time. Add the time she spends mentoring children like Kristen, and it's an extremely busy and rewarding life.
It's helped. My communication and my leadership skills have really come out from this because being the director, I have to take a lot of responsibility and be assertive, so assertiveness is something I've taken out of this. And I've met a lot of my good friends are through this, so I'm thankful for all the people I've met. Left, 2, 3, 4, and throw. Good try.
You don't have to be a championship bowler to qualify as a mentor. Sometimes all it takes is a willingness to listen and a little bit of your time.
Okay, I know her favorite animal, Kitty. What's your favorite animal?
My favorite animal is a dog. You're silly. So where are you guys going trick-or-treating tomorrow?
Grandma's house.
Grandma's house? Where's your grandma live?
A block away from MacArthur. Yeah. 1011 Central Avenue. Cool. And we're going to go to this one place house. There's one person's house, and they give out chips.
They give out
bags of chips.
Provide for coverage of the operating loss that may be incurred as exceeds, although actually it could go cheaper than that.
Is going to first be used, obviously, you pay the fees and cost, whatever it is, this amount of money would be 50% of that. It's been a discussion for a long time, and I think the city of Wilmington and others made the decision years ago that we were not contemplating building a convention.
That may be incurred as exceeds, although actually it could go cheaper than that.
In many ways, the rugged hill country of southern Minnesota appears as wild and remote as the Northland, but you are never far from farm fields. Yet more and more deer hunters are choosing to hunt here because that's where the deer are.
Yeah, it seems like there's more deer here now than there was, and then
one of those hunters is Roy Bradley. Roy used to hunt near Deer River but switched south partly because northern deer have become scarce.
The last few years I hunted up north, it seemed like it got continually worse. Saw less deer. worked harder.
Bradley and friends have decided northern Minnesota, with its endless forest and remote deer camps, isn't for them. They've given up rifles for shotguns, and they hunt on the wooded hillsides amid the pastures and cornfields down here. Hunters here must use shotguns and slugs because rifle bullets travel too far. In a land where farms are over every rise, that can be dangerous. Using short-range guns doesn't seem to hurt their hunting success, however. On opening morning, 13-year-old Brandon Dunbar shot a buck by 8.
First time I've got to shoot at a deer.
And an hour later, he got his second.
Sitting there with my eyes closed.
Why?
Because I was taking a nap. And then when I opened him, he was standing right there. He was looking at me. He's looking at me, and I hoped he won't run away.
Stories like Brandon's aren't unusual. Hunters in farm country get a deer about 50% of the time. In the Northland, the success rate is about 15% in a good year. This season, it will likely be closer to 10. For hunters like Roy Bradley, hunting up north just doesn't add up.
This is a good bunch, so I enjoy this, and I wouldn't go back up north. There's less deer up there, the way they say, and I enjoy this more.
For Bradley and his group, it's been a safe and successful season, a tradition they hope to continue if deer populations stay strong. State game managers say they can't see any reason why that will change.
It's still sausage. There's juicy blood coming out of it.
Andy.
As they brew up their beer, they bring it by. We've got judges that are going to put comments down so they can see how they're doing.
Pile over here. Yeah, crazy boy, John.
He's was awarded quite a few medals, and he's got some nice trophies, and he was a good bowler. He bowled almost till he was 95 years old.
Newscast on television or a story in a newspaper. Next, I'd like to introduce in 1996, these people were involved in setting a new record for DWI arrests of nearly 39,000 here in Minnesota alone. We thank them all for their work and thank them for being here this afternoon.
My name
name is Matt Lagerfield.
One hat,
One hat,
one overlay, one pair of very short pants.
we had people with full uniforms, with half uniforms, with no uniforms, with all bits and pieces, and it was time to do something. So I'm really happy that the community and our staff and our students are going to get behind this, and next year we hope we have some brand new uniforms.
You are viewing the 1976 Bruning was in the time when bell bottoms and shaggy hair was stylish and the colors by the year's end and wear it for the next 2 decades. Has purchased new uniforms 4 times. First time in the year 1931 with 18 members. We hope to have this by the year's end and wear it for the next 2 decades. The Denville High School
McElroy, to Ann Rest, to Lauren Jennings, to Leroy Copendry. It's become apparent that the Dick Jefferson, who had the courage to be the only.
If I were going to crystal ball clearly, I think the Minnesota Twins days in Minnesota are probably very numbered.
Christmas City called Duluth. Christmas.
It was a picture-perfect moment as snow lightly fell from the sky during the Christmas City of the North parade. But all that beautiful snow last night means a little extra work today.
I got about 30 minutes into this, and I got about another 20-25 minutes to go, and that's about it.
You ready for this?
No, no, not at all.
But 90-year-old Ed Jablonski says he doesn't mind shoveling snow. In fact, his landlord shovels the sidewalks for him, but this morning, Ed beat him to it.
Rather than sit home watching other people do it, I come out here. I like to shovel snow to a point. When you get too much, well, then I don't like it.
The kids in this West Duluth neighborhood say they had to help their parents shovel off the snow this morning, but now it's time to let the fun begin. They call this Dead Man's Hill. Whoa! It's deadly.
Some kids use sleds and others use nothing at all, simply rolling and falling down the hills. 10-year-old James Quacco says he was so excited to get outside and play in the snow that he grabbed whatever he could find. Today, he used a recycling bin.
I eat breakfast and I wake, then I told my auntie I was going outside, and I'm just dressed up, right outside, and down this hill I keep on going. And I just got finished having hot cocoa at his house.
The kids say they plan to hit the sledding hill every weekend now that the snow is finally here. But I guess we'll see about that when January's cold air hits.
You guys ready? Yeah. Time to party! Oh!
In Lincoln Park, Adam May, Channel 6 News.
I suggest that you ask the Spirit Mountain Board to go back to the drawing board and come up with a master plan that doesn't include a golf course.
older woman, quite beautiful. But I think she's the only Vietnamese.
John Chell and Marcia Miller have a new baby girl. But instead of the usual 9 months it takes to bring a child home, getting Katie took 2 years. They were happily married, but found something missing in their lives.
It's a big home, and yeah, I've never had any children, so I did feel that there was a lot of room for a baby, for a family. Family is kind of a dream of mine.
Everybody in
A dream that for 4 years had gone unfulfilled. John has children from a previous marriage, but both he and his wife wanted a new baby. They attempted to have one, but were unsuccessful, so they explored another option.
We did try. We didn't try too hard. You know, we tried to have children on our own, but adoption was something that John was interested in too. Basically, we just wanted to be parents together.
When the Shells made the decision to increase their family by one, they came here to the Children's Home Society of Minnesota, an organization that spent 108 years pairing children with adoptive parents. John and Marcia decided to adopt a Vietnamese child through Children's Home. Julie Hessler is in charge of placements for the Asian country and says around 20 children were placed in new homes around the U.S. in the last year. This program that finds homes for young Vietnamese children is in its infancy, having existed for only 18 months. Hessler says adoptions in the country should become more popular because there are fewer restrictions for prospective parents.
All programs in international adoption are different, and they all have different requirements by country. Vietnam is probably one of the more open programs in terms of the age of the parents, and just there aren't very many restrictions.
Rich Smith is the Northeast Minnesota caseworker for Children's Home. He says Vietnam may be easier, but that any international adoption is a demanding endeavor.
The international process, which John and Marcia did, involves quite a bit of paperwork. The country requires a dossier. What you're doing in international adoption is fundamentally a legal process between two governments.
Katie's new parents also have to get U.S. citizenship for her and go before a county court to make the adoption legal in the United States. Adoption isn't an easy process. It isn't a cheap one either, according to Smith.
They could anticipate paying anywhere from about $5,000 to maybe $20,000, and this is just at Children's Home. And I hear stories of $30,000, $40,000 adoptions.
Financially, it's certainly not cheap, but when you start to think about the material things that you buy in your life, you buy a car, you know, there's a lot of things that you buy. When you compare having a family with that, there's just no comparison.
Not when it's compared to finally fulfilling the dream of a lifetime.
You bet you, Charlie Brown.
Justin Acree, Channel 6 News.
She's always in a good mood. She gets to have squash tonight for the first time.
Oh, that's going to be a big breakthrough.
Yeah.
John Chell and Marcia Miller decided to adopt a Vietnamese baby with the help of Children's Home Society of Minnesota. The process requires a trip to the country.
One of the unique aspects of it is that families are required to travel, and that's a requirement of Vietnam, and they have to go there for about 2 weeks generally. She likes the camera.
Yeah.
John and Marcia say they became interested in adopting from Vietnam partly because of the U.S. tie to the country from the Vietnam War.
Vietnam was of interest to us because of the American connection. And John had a bit of an interest in that too. He never did go to Vietnam. Actually, his first baby kept him from going to Vietnam.
The birth of his first child kept John from going to war in Vietnam, and adopting Katie finally took him there after all these years. While John and Marcia were in Vietnam, they fell in love twice, with the Vietnamese culture, as well as their new baby girl.
A beautiful, beautiful place, a beautiful country. Kate can be very, very proud of her heritage. Wonderful people and lush countryside. Just a beautiful trip.
The countryside itself is absolutely beautiful. The scenes of Saigon, or Ho Chi Minh City as it's called now, I will never forget because it is an intensely busy, active country.
Here comes the wave. Here comes the wave.
While in Vietnam, Marcia and John played with their new family member in her native land, walking on the beaches of the South China Sea and taking in the Ho Chi Minh City skyline. Vietnam is rich in history, a place where lush countryside meets the bustling city, and local people are still more likely to get around by bike or scooter than by autos.
It's almost an awe-inspiring responsibility to think that instead of having your own child, you've actually taken this child out of her country, out of her culture, and are now going to raise her in some other place.
That new place is Minnesota, and when she finally arrived in the Northland, Katie was met by her teary-eyed new relatives.
This has been just a long wait, but it's worth it. Our daughter and son-in-law have been working over a couple of years. Dates are changed, time of arrival has changed. We keep praying and hoping, and the day is here. It's wonderful, just wonderful.
Julie Hessler of Children's Home says that Vietnamese officials will be more willing to allow adoptions from their country when they see positive results.
As they see with post-placement reports and stuff how these children are doing, that they're really thriving and doing well, that will, urge them to continue to do adoptions.
And if those officials could see the love and support that Katie Chell is getting here in the Northland, they would have all the urging that they need. Justin Acree, Channel 6 News.
That's who you wanted to see.
Sitting area was just absolutely gorgeous.
We emphasize also technology, both in the classroom with the use of the internet, with scientific tools, and then the technology that the actual scientists use at the research site. This year,
Oh yeah, well I just gave it back to her. Do you want us to keep that and pass it on to another teacher? Or?
Ah, lutefisk. It literally means live fish.
It was a method of preserving cod, and it was preserved by being dried and being treated with lye.
B.O. Jakangas says lutefisk is a tie for Scandinavians to their homeland.
Can you just imagine those poor people when they first came, how sad they felt, during the holiday season? So what do? You start doing things that are very familiar to you and familiar to home, and something that takes a long process, and lutefisk was just the perfect thing.
And a rite of passage for others.
And I ate meatballs until they told me I couldn't sit at the adult table till I ate lutefisk. So once I started eating lutefisk, I could move up with the big people.
Lefse is the perfect partner for the fish, and there will be plenty of the potato rounds for the dinner.
Oh, I think about 9,647. Close to that.
Actually, closer to 750. There are also 1,200 meatballs and 220 pounds of Alaskan salmon for those who don't enjoy the lye-soaked goodie.
It's immigrant food. It's because they missed cod, and they couldn't have fresh cod, so they put it in lye. And then the Norwegians wouldn't eat it. When you go over to Norway, they don't eat lefse. Is there...
20-year-old Wanda LeClaire is a recovering alcoholic and drug addict. The mother of a 2-year-old, Wanda is clean and sober and turning her life around. 6 months ago, she got off welfare and began an apprenticeship to build a career.
I like going cashing paychecks. I didn't like going cashing those AFDC checks because it felt so good for those 6 months that I was able to go into the bank and, and cash my paycheck and put some away and pay my bills that way.
During that time, Wanda learned to build self-esteem and remove barriers to success. However, after 6 months, the job ended, and Wanda once again became a statistic.
And then when I was forced to go back on AFDC, I just felt like this heavy pressure on me, and I felt really like, you know, did I really accomplish something during those 6 months, you know, because here I am back on AFDC.
Wanda is telling her story to others, hoping to help them. She spoke at a rally Wednesday demanding living wage jobs and a repeal of welfare cuts, where protesters put on a new version of the Christmas classic Scrooge.
I'm alive and well, and I'm living in Duluth, Minnesota, and all around the country, yeah.
Kidding aside, the group has serious goals regarding welfare reform, including legislation that would remove penalties for subsidized housing, restore food stamps by 100%, and provide up to 4 years education for everyone. Yet, even the bill's author seems pessimistic about its passing anytime soon.
I'm going to try to do it, but I'm pessimistic. I think the governor will veto it, so probably 1999.
And the message loses some of its hope for the people it affects the most, having to wait years for possible changes.
To me, that's a lifetime. And I think, I mean, the governor that we have now, until somebody experienced homelessness and poverty and injustice, only then they can understand fully what people are going through to become self-sufficient. And
in Duluth, Maureen Channel 6 News.
Pass the laws and whatnot have not experienced.
I'm an old lutefisk person. I had it since I was a kid, so I suppose it was acquired back then.
It's wonderful. The lutefisk and salmon was just perfect.
For the food shelf and
oh, really? Oh, that's so wonderful.
This is all they said.
Corvettes North would like to present you with a check for $500. We've been in existence for about 10 years. It's Corvette cars, and we tour and have parties. And it's just a good group to get together.
It's a wonderful gesture. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Operation Rudolph appreciates it. All those little kids are going to appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Well, they're
also
very generous.
You know, with the kettles are really coming in very slowly this year, so
Are they?
they're going to need all the help they can get.
Salvation Army headquarters was turned into a giant store today. Tables filled with toys gave people all kinds of choices. The toys came from programs like Operation Rudolph, which collects donations from the public. People walked down the aisle selecting gifts from their children's wish lists.
I have 3 little 3-year-old girls, and without this program they wouldn't have much of a Christmas.
Despite being down on their luck, many kept the true meaning of Christmas in perspective as they shopped.
It just seems like the kids are overwhelmed with the season, but I have to remember too that, you know, Jesus is born too. That's why I was looking at bedtime Bible stories.
As well as the toys, the Salvation Army is providing gift food baskets. Now these baskets include everything from stuffing to, of course, the turkey to the cranberry sauce. Everything a family will need for an excellent Christmas dinner. The Salvation Army hopes to help up to 2,000 families this year. Major James Fry says this program means so much to those it helps.
Sometimes you see tears come down their face and saying, you made our Christmas very special, and that's what we're in the business about doing.
Those collecting food and toys today applied earlier and have already qualified for this assistance. In Duluth, Barbara Riles, Channel 6 News.